I think one of my favorite things about it is the whole idea of um, doing positive, contributing to your community, but also living off of it. I think another thing that I
Absolutely.
really liked, yeah, another thing that I really liked about the book was its optimistic outlook, and basically African youth being the ones that we've been waiting for.
Absolutely. If you look at the entire continent for the past 60 years, that many countries that fought for self-determined rule had independence, there is one thing that runs through. The self-determined rule and the independence that countries got did not equate to addressing challenges and creating more opportunities for the citizens. And the result, the reason for that was that the people were not put at the center of development. Development was meant to be for the people rather than people doing development for themselves. And the people then got disengaged, not to be meant to be the custodians of the very development in which and the very resources in which they were supposed to be the custodians and pave the development for themselves. And that equation has continuously gotten widened in that people are doing catch up most of the time, but not necessarily sitting on the driver's seat. And because they lead from the rear, not sitting on the driver's seat, they do not own the development sometimes, and they do not feel that they are being taken in the direction in which they want. What does that mean? It means if you can inspire people to see themselves as solution providers, they will take charge and they will do what they can do. And if you have 1.2 billion citizens, each and everyone taking charge to contribute in his or her own way, Africa's development will be realized in less than 5 years, because we've not been made to see each and everyone as a solution provider. That even sometimes when people are doing their best to contribute to society, their effort seems as if they've been misplaced. They get disenfranchised and they get discouraged. But we did a different kind of an approach in which people are inspired, that because the most important thing that every human being is supposed to see and understand is to know that they're useful. When you make a human being know that he or she is useful, she can do wonders. Of course, they need guidance, but when you make them to know that they're not useful, they will unleash the negative part of the human being. And that is what has been missing in this whole equation: usefulness of a human being, guiding them, making them to play their role, but play their role to solve problems and also address their own challenges. And that is why in the book, I made it very clear that the logic and the secret for Africa's transformation is an empowered citizenry that is empowered to become the solution providers, to leverage on what they have, which is their skills and talents, but in a way that they can now start to address the challenges to benefit themselves and whether benefit communities, but add up to the entire development agenda. Because the reality is that the role of government is to create an enabling environment for citizens to build their enterprises. Government role is to play, to make sure that there is the enabling environment for citizens to play that role. Because once the citizens pick up in playing that role, and in this case, we're talking of a constituent, because if you look at the population, over 60% youthful. So it means that we're talking of the biggest constituents of development that is actually the youth. But they need a different kind of way to be inspired to carry out this. They need enabling environment to access financing, enabling environment to be able to have the policies that if they're doing something on energy, the enabling environment is already there, created. And it moves across the continent. Those enabling environments are there, but there is this missing word called inspiration to inspire people to action. People then tend to ask the question, what is the government doing? But it should be the other way around, that the government has done this, but this is what I am doing, and this is what the government is doing. So there is always a disconnect where, like I always say, that the biggest undoing for Africa is their perennial approach of passing the buck. And I've said this, is the perennial approach of passing the buck and thinking that Africa's development is the responsibility of others. Citizens think it is the responsibility of government alone. Government think it is the responsibility of development partners. And that is where the disconnect has actually always been. But that is a fallacy, because when the thinking sometimes is also the fixation only on finance. Finance is an enabling aspect. It is not an end. I call it part of a means. It is not an end, because even if you had all the money, you do not have people with the requisite skills, inspired and motivated, the money will still finish without any development done and without any problem solved. And therefore, it becomes quite very, very important that we need to start to reshape that narrative, because part of innovative volunteerism and the book itself was, how do we reshape the narrative of Africa from mineral resources, from material resources to people? Because it is people that produce material. Material do not produce people. And so people should not allow material to own them, but they should be able to find different ways in which that material can still be produced, but produced in a way that address challenges that are affecting humans, not exacerbating already those challenges. And therefore, it becomes very important that the book, as you saw, innovative volunteerism is actually about inspiring people, helping them to unleash their passion, but passion that is tied to purpose, because purpose is that thing that you get up. You said, what am I useful for as a human being? I need to do something to leave a legacy. But that purpose must be tied to a vision, and I call that an unborrowed vision. And I think that is actually what you're doing, Fatu, because your passion is on fashion, but you fashion linked to sustainability. And that gets you up in the morning, you go to bed thinking about it, and that's the kind of unborrowed, your vision is to see how do you drive sustainability within the fashion space. And you are doing that, contributing to a solution to the environment and to your country and to the continent. And if everyone could develop that kind of passion and tie it to a purpose, then the continent will change.